Hello everybody, it's me GhostCritic with your weekly slab of thoughts, opinions, reviews of the books that I picked up this past week. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you already know the books that I picked up because you'll have already seen Wednesday's new comic book day, and now it's time to let you all know what I thought of them. Spoiler warning in effect. I'm going to be talking storylines, cliffhangers, character progressions, all that good stuff along the way. So if you've not read any of these books, please feel free to stop the video, go and read it, come back, or just fast forward the video until you see the next comic book raise aloft. I've only got 5 books to talk about this week, so we'll probably just rattle through these and make it a nice short video. And after the very first one, because I do these, if you're new to this channel, my reviews usually go from least liked to my pick of the week. And apart from the first one I'm going to show, most of them were pretty darn good. And I think they'll be a surprise for what was my pick of the week for this past pull list. But stick around and find out what that is. So I'm kicking off this week. Unfortunately, I'm going to drop this. Well, I say drop this, it was never on my pull list. It's Exiles issue number 3. I gave it 3 issues. I picked it up off the shelf. I didn't put this on my pull list because there was just something missing. Perhaps it's just my knowledge and my nostalgia for the original Marvel run on this that I enjoyed so much, but this is just missing something. And I think partly it's because they've introduced the kind of big bad way too soon. They haven't really given the characters a chance to kind of bond as a team in any way, and everything just seems to be going at a breakneck speed. The concept here, we have this unknown villainous quantity called the Time Eater, who is basically eating up big chunks of the Marvel multiverse. And there seems to be no rhyme or reason why this is happening. And the first 2 issues, clearly just bringing this new Exiles team together from their respective universes. And this is the first issue where they're kind of all together. And everything, like I said, it just goes too fast. They crack through 2 universes within about probably about the first half of the book. You have them in this kind of prehistoric dinosaur universe where we have these kind of almost anthropomorphic dinosaurs kitted out with guns and armour and the like. And then they go through to this kind of hippie commune loving, which is headed by a version of this multiverse's version of Namor. But it's just as the Time Eater kind of catches up with them for no reason. Are they following? Is this Time Eater following this group? Because she thing, whatever it is, always seems to be in the place that they land in. But the Talus, which is this kind of teleporting bracelet that Blink wears, despite the fact that it's kind of broken and shattered, manages to transport them to the next universe just in time before the Time Eater, apparently, because it's laid on thick that apparently these universes haven't gone completely yet, because there's got to be time to save these universes. But yes, they escape just in the nick of time. And then the last half of this book lands in this multiverse, universe, whatever you want to call it, with our cover star here. It is Peggy Carter's Captain America, where she is Captain America. Peggy Carter, I believe, kind of pulled from a TV show of sorts. I've never watched it, but perhaps she was a character many years ago, but my only visual of it is because of these TV programs that came out of Marvel. So they're using it here, and it's this version of Captain America up against the Red Skull. I think it's kind of like the 1930s, 1940s era, and the Red Skull has an atomic bomb and he's going to drop it, and it's up to the Exiles to stop him, which they do. But apparently within the whole rescue and stopping the bomb from dropping, it has a crack in it and it's letting out nuclear fumes, and then it explodes, and the cliffhanger is who is dead, who is alive, have our Exiles managed to escape? And that's about it. And I just feel, I know it's only issue 3, but I do feel a little shortchanged by it. And I honestly don't think I'm going to be picking up issue 4, which is a shame, because the original series, I like the idea that they were there to fix timelines, rather than, because they're not making any effort to stop this time eater from eating these planets, these universes. They basically are just letting it happen and escaping in the nick of time, which just doesn't do it for me. Issue number 602 of Charles Soule's Daredevil out last week, and like I said, the rest of these comics, apart from maybe the top 2, could have been put in any order. I did enjoy them very much, but I guess Daredevil is the first one I'm going to speak about in that list, because although he just manages to do it, Charles Soule kind of treads that fine line with this particular storyline between the Matt Murdock being the mayor, the responsibilities of being the mayor of New York City, and what he can and can't do, and what he's going to do anyway, with what we really want from a Daredevil comic, and that's him in a Daredevil suit doing all that action superhero kind of street level stuff. And that's really what happens in here. You have the knife edge of almost the middle page, where the first half is all based in the office, talking about, you know, what a mayor can and can't do to stop the general public from being outside, staying in their homes, while this army of the hand are trying to take down all the kind of services, I guess you'd call them, within New York City, so like the police force and such like. But the moment there just doesn't seem to be a clue why the Hand are doing what they're doing. The second half is where Blind Spot throws himself into the fray and goes out with Daredevil to kind of clear up, along with all the rest of the heroes, the street level heroes, and get rid of the Hand. But it's Blind Spot that feels ultimately responsible for this, because he's pulled on that power that was given to him from the Beast, who appears to be orchestrating all this in the background. Who knows where this will eventually go, but he feels ultimately responsible because he's used that power, which or was about to use that power but rejected it to beat Muse. And like I said, the thing with this is, with Daredevil, you either go one way or the other. It's all action-packed, or it's all talky. And Charles Soule just does it. I mean, the fun bits in this are obviously all the action scenes. Foggy gets pulled into the office of the mayor. He's now kind of like in charge of everyone, so Matt Murdock can go away and be Daredevil. But it's kind of like the Foggy's conscious kind of Jiminy Cricket on the old shoulder, saying, look, there are other people out there that can, you know, clear out the Hand. And you get a great kind of page of all those heroes doing their thing. So obviously there's Moon Knight teaming up with Iron Fist, you've got Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, you've got Spider-Man, the two Spider-Mans, I'm guessing one of them's Miles Morales and one of them's Peter Parker, and then you've got is it Misty Moon down there, and Echo, and obviously, you know, but ultimately Matt Murdock, this is his city, and he wants to be out there protecting it, or at least finding out what is going on. And there are these great kind of action scenes with Blind Spot and Daredevil fight in hand. They eventually get to this kind of GCPD, which is being held by the Hand and protected, but when they actually finally get inside, there's no one there, but we don't understand where they've gone until we see the final page. I'm guessing they've gone underground, but again, there's no idea what the Hand's final kind of gameplay is on this, so it's going to be interesting to see where Soule is going to go with this. But good stuff nonetheless. Next up, it's Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness's Avengers issue number 2. The issue number 1 was my pick of the week when it came out. It was a bumper-sized issue, so you got more bang for your buck, and set up a lot of things, helped the new readers out a little bit. Obviously issue 2 is a shorter issue, and you've got to fill more in there with the space provided, which may be why it hasn't reached that top spot again. But that is not to say this is another great issue of the Avengers. And to me, it is just what the comic book's meant to be about. Pure entertainment with your favourite comic book heroes all in one package. Despite the fact that at the moment they are quite separated, they're not together as a team, as you get Captain America, Thor and Iron Man going up against this Celestial, who's all in black, so we know he's a baddie, who seems to be the main villain, who is taking down all the, I guess, lesser Celestials who have been falling from the skies. They're not quite dead, as Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, finds out. And there's this element of a storyline about a cure. What the cure is for, we don't know yet. But the Celestial that she touches and investigates, for some reason transports her, teleports her away into the line of fire of Ghost Rider. And they have a bit of a set to, as you know, when the heroes come together, they can't just get on and say hello. They've got to have a fight first. And this is just part of all the fun. It reminds me of those kind of late 70s, early 80s Marvel 2-in-1 storylines where heroes would team up, but you know, they'd have a bit of a fight first and then come to an understanding, and oh, aren't we silly to have had that fight straight away, and now we come together to beat off the big bad. So we have those two together. Miss Marvel throws herself into the fray with the Cap and that group. But it's just an awesome, thrilling ride, and Ed McGuinness does not disappoint with the whole artwork on here. As usual, there's just some great, bright, colourful, exciting panels to just, you know, fanboy all over. And of course, Jason Aaron is just having an absolute fun time here. You can tell there's not just the danger here, there's not just the tension. He throws in, you know, little bits of humour along the way, which is great. But ultimately, what is going on? Who is this big dark Celestial? Clearly, he is of a celestial nature, but the other Celestials don't really appreciate him being around. Maybe they were coming to warn Earth that he was on his way, as one of the Celestials tries to kind of distract this dark Celestial, or at least try and take him down, but this guy, he's all powerful, but great, fun stuff. I love it. I just want more and more of this, and it feels like this has only just come out, so I've got a feeling this could be a two a month solicitations, but I'm fine with it. If it's this good, I'm still keeping with it. Love it! Now this may come as some surprise. Issue number 3 of Gideon Falls just misses out on my pick of the week this time around, but it's not to say that this isn't another fine instalment of this series from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. A fantastic story that I have just been hooked from the very first issue, and I'm glad to see in my comment section from previous videos that people are picking this up and enjoying it as much as I am, because I do think it's damn fine story writing, damn fine artwork, just an all-around great package in this kind of horror psychological story set in this small town where these murders have started occurring. Now, I guess the only reason that this didn't make it pick of the week this week is this is kind of a settling in issue. We've had the first issue, which is introduced and kind of, you know, given us the taste that we want. It's given us the idea of the horror element of this. The second issue kind of embellished the characters, enriched this world that we're living in. As I said, issue 3 feels very much like a settling in issue as we drop in on our kind of, I guess, our two main antagonists. The father with the dubious past, coming to be the new priest of the church, as the previous previous priest has apparently died, but this issue kind of makes people wonder, is he really dead? And him trying to settle into his new role, given what all the murders going around, and because it's such a small town, everyone obviously knows about it. When he's trying to write his first sermon and kind of reassure his congregation that, you know, God has a plan. And then on the flip side of this, we go back to Norton, our potentially psychologically deranged character who goes around the city that he lives in, picking up what seems to be random bits of trash and crap, nails, small bits of planks of wood, and there is this element of the ominous red, I think it was red barn or black barn, that he sees in visions. And we pick up from the end of last issue where his psychiatrist just walking down the road of this city, and she has the vision, she sees the black barn. And so visits Norton, who has just had his apartment broken into, and parts of this supposed barn he's collecting and wanting to rebuild has been taken. So he set all these booby traps down, and there is this wonderful 2-page spread where Norton is explaining where all the traps are, highlighted by the little red circles you can see, and it's just the kind of ingenuity of showing all those kind of booby traps he's laid for any other wannabe break-ins, I guess. And I guess with these two, the psychiatrist, who obviously is trying to rationalise it all, she doesn't want to believe that what Norton has been telling her, which she's been saying all along, that this is all in your head, you have to kind of like embrace your life, be as one with it and all that stuff. She's struggling clearly with that. And of course, our priest, our father, is struggling with what to say to his congregation. So he picks the only thing he can do, and that's honesty, and is incredibly honest with them. it's just rounding up to be the most fantastic story. It kind of ends with the father going to see the town doctor, who again expands this idea that there is something evil within this town of Gideon Falls, and we see another great 2-page panel from Andrea Sorrentino with all these news clippings and everything leading to the barn, which I believe, given that if you can see right in there, it's red. So I'm going to go with Red Barn. But again, I am shouting out this book to everyone. Please go and pick this up. Let's really give this book a push for Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino and make it a huge hit, because it is definitely worth it. Now you may be somewhat perplexed, surprised, confused at my pick of the week, but I honestly thought this issue of The Punisher was so incredibly entertaining, and I just enjoyed the crap out of it. We have Matthew Rosenberg, issue 224. The Punisher, Frank Castle, is back in town after his trip over to Europe to take down a dictator, helped by Nick Fury, who has given him the War Machine armour. And Frank doesn't want to give it back. And why would he? This is going to help him with his tirade, his mission on the criminal element within the city. And what better use of it? And its advanced technology and its armour. So he wastes no time. He goes into this bar frequented by the villainous underbelly of the city and just starts taking people down. And while that just sounds like, oh, it's just an ordinary Punisher issue, it's done with a modicum of humour thrown in there as well. I just love the moment where we have these villains in the back room playing poker. You might just be able to see that, but you've got Bullseye there, you've got Rhino, you've got lesser known characters like the Scourge, and Iron Man just starts picking them all off. Obviously he's not going to get to Bullseye or Rhino because they're big characters, he can't really kill them, but he goes off chasing after them, but is stopped in his tracks by a member of the superhero community, that is it Ms. Marvel? I'm saying it's Ms. Marvel. Is that her name? But yeah, she stops him in his tracks because she ain't happy that he hasn't handed it in. I mean, this is Frank Castle. What do you absolutely expect from him? You've given him almost unlimited, all-powerful armour suit. He's going to use it for what he needs in his particular world of crime. And they have a set too. Up in the skies, and to be honest, purely by luck and chance, he manages to escape, and so we get some great cameos. Daredevil, Matt Murdock into the fray. These two have always had a relationship, a rather tenuous relationship. They're obviously fighting crime, but they do it in very different ways. Frank Castle's is obviously of the terminal variety, while Daredevil's is more of the justice line. And then we get Hawkeye gets thrown in there as well. He tags him with an arrow that has these tracking nanobites in them. There's a little, from what I remember, because I didn't actually read the run, I read it in trade a while ago, but I remember there being a story about a pizza, and I'm sure that top panel is a reference to him eating pizza in his no, that was, yeah, it was Hawkeye, yes it was, but touches like that just kind of elevate what would normally be a standard Punisher story. And then obviously right at the end, where obviously he's now got these tracking nanobites in his armour, all the superheroes know where he is, and they've all assembled, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the next issue. How either Frank Castle gets out of this, if he gets to keep the War Machine armour, which is unlikely. As fun as it has been with him having all this armour, we want him back just as the normal Punisher, using his smarts, his skill set, his army background, his ingenuity in taking down criminals. But this has been a refreshing uplift for the Punisher title after Becky Cloonan's kind of flat run on the series. I loved it. Such a great comic book, and it's nice to see something different for my pick of the week, and I just wanted to show this book some love. And that's it for this week. Thank you all for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell as well, so you will always be told when I've uploaded a video. I try and get at least 3, it's usually 2, but I try to get at least 3 up every week. So you got plenty to watch. Thank you all for joining me. Please comment down below on all the stuff I've been talking about. I'm sure some of you will have some opinions about the Punisher being my pick of the week, but go for it. Let me know what your pick of the week was, and I'll endeavour to reply to you all as soon as I can. Bye bye, have a great week.